I'm Noah Clarke, and my topic is environment at risk. We're all living on this planet as if we had somewhere else to go. Gary Swearington. Life is possible thanks to the environment. Not only does the environment provide life, it gives us everything we need to stay alive. I am credible to relay the following information because I have done research on this topic thoroughly, and I am also interested in this topic, and I have also taken classes on this topic. Life is not... Today I will tell you first how the biodiversity of the environment is important. Second, I will explain how destroying ecosystems would affect us and nature. And lastly, some ways to preserve and help the environment. Now that I've explained what will be discussed, it's time to move on to how environment's biodiversity is important. This is Earth, beautiful place. What will be discussed. So the loss of biodiversity on our planet is one of the many concerns when talking about environmental risks. Biodiversity is defined as the variety of life on Earth. Its biological diversity is commonly referred to as biodiversity by M. Shaw. Issues of decreased biodiversity. One issue that involves the decrease in biodiversity is production of pharmaceutical products. As stated by the Economics of Ecosystems and Biodiversity for National and International Policymakers, 2009, TEB. 25% to 50% of pharmaceutical products come from genetic resources. Now, this being said, it is possible that at some point in time before our ecosystem, or before our biodiversity started getting destroyed on Earth, that there was a possible plant or species to cure terminal diseases such as cancer. Benefits of biodiversity. A quote from N. Shaw. Biodiversity boosts ecosystems' productivity, where each species all have an important role to play. For example, a larger number of plant species means a greater variety of crops. Greater species diversity ensures natural sustainability to all life forms. Healthy ecosystems can better withstand and recover from a variety of disasters, and so while we dominate this planet, we still need to preserve the diversity in wildlife. Now that I've explained how biodiversity is important, it's time to move on to how destroying ecosystems would affect us and nature. Another important factor in sustaining life on Earth is preserving ecosystems. An ecosystem is defined by margin dum as a geographic area where plants, animals, and other organisms, as well as weather and landscape, work together to form the bubble of life. Ecosystems contain biotic or living parts, as well as abiotic or non-living parts. Biotic factors include plants, animals, and other organisms. Abiotic factors include rocks, temperature, and humidity. There are many different types of ecosystems, each of which are biodiversity for a certain species. An example of an ecosystem would be a body of water for a fish. In order for the fish to survive, that body of water is going to need a suitable source of food, other fish so fish can reproduce, and predators so the population is maintained. The same can also be said about humans. Regardless of the fact that advances in technology have made it possible for humans to live almost in any ecosystem without any problems. However, there are still some that have been so badly damaged that we would not even be able to live there with our technology, such as Chernobyl, Russia. Ecosystems. In Chernobyl, there's a nuclear power plant where something had gone wrong and one of the power plants had exploded and caused virtually like 50 to 100 miles of unnatural ambient radiation poisoning. All the animals, for the most part, have died or been severely mutated and are not well. now that I've explained how ecosystems benefit us and what would happen if they had been destroyed, it's time to move on to ways that we can provide help and preserve the environment. One of the simplest ways to help the environment is not to litter. Littering has caused severe consequences to many species and the environment as a whole. Garbage can cause leakage, which can be drained into underground waterways and end up polluting an entire natural clean water supply. Also, garbage can end up in our lakes and rivers, which in turn jeopardizes aquatic life due to pollution. This affects everything in a negative way. And this is garbage leaking into our sewers and probably in clean water because it's just sitting out on the street on the curb. It's not anywhere where it should be disposed of properly. Another way to help the environment is by not wasting food. As quoted by Shanna Lebowitz in the United States, we throw out about 40% of our food each year. The amount of the global food waste produced each year is more than enough to feed nearly 1.2 billion starving people in the world. That waste in food usually ends up in landfills and eventually turns into a destructive greenhouse gas called methane. And this is a landfill full of food, which is still pretty green. Looks pretty edible still, but we threw it out regardless. Another way, and perhaps one of the most important ways of all, is to be mindful of trees. Trees are not only important to humans, there are many other species which are tied to trees for shelter, food, and air. Shanna Lebowitz states, it's best to look for labels that indicates an item has been made using sustainable methods, meaning it protects against global warming and the destruction of wildlife. The same thing goes for the purchases of wood products like furniture, and make sure it's certified by the Forest Stewardship Council, and less obvious paper goods such as tissues and toilet paper. This is a famous Dr. Seuss book, The Lorax. He wanted to protect the trees. You now all know how biodiversity in the environment is important, how destroying ecosystems affects us and nature, and some ways to provide support and preserve the environment. This benefits you all, since this is your home, this is life, and without it, we'd all be nothing. And if we destroy the environment, this is probably what our Earth will look like, a dark, desolate rock. What to remember? Everything we do makes a difference, so why not make a positive difference? These are my sources.